Well, folks, Bitcoin and Ethereum, the crypto market, are collapsing right before our eyes right now. And I want to share with you exactly what's going on here, why Bitcoin and Ethereum are crashing, how much longer this is going to last, essentially. They're completely collapsing. And it's amazing because literally, I was prepping this video, right? And Bitcoin at that time was 22.2. I literally just checked my phone right now. It's at 21.5. Like, that's how fast this thing is dropping, that it's just like, it loses like $700 like that and like that. And it's incredible because, this is down 17% now. Ethereum's under 1,200 now. It's, down 17% plus as well in the past 24 hours. And it's just absolutely devastating to obviously, everybody in the crypto markets right now, and it's showing no signs of stopping as of right now. And we're going to talk about all this. Okay, we got a lot to get into here. So first thing is, Bitcoin now is down over 53% year to date. Okay, so it's starting to the losses recently specifically are starting to really add up. There was quite a time here where Bitcoin was holding up pretty well given the financial markets and given the stock market. While the stock market was getting devastated, Bitcoin actually was holding pretty decent. And it was actually very surprising to a lot of us that pay attention to the crypto markets, the stock market, and things like that. But very recently, it's just completely fallen apart here from 40,000 now to, like I said, 21 and change now, as of recording this video right now. And that's just an insane kind of drop here. Ethereum's even been actually much worse here. So Ethereum's dropped from 3,500 to obviously now, under 1,200 now for Ethereum, and that's down 67% plus year to date. These moves are obviously very devastating for a lot of folks in the crypto community. And the reason this is so devastating to so many folks in the crypto community, outside of just like being down a lot, right, is many folks have gotten into the crypto market in the last couple of years that haven't been through these sorts of drops. And so, if you've been in the crypto markets for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, you've been through the roller coaster enough, right? But the fact is, a lot of people have gotten in Bitcoin and Ethereum in the past 2 years. And so those folks are entering this market where it's just an absolute crash right now. And people are honestly very, very panicked, and for good reason, because I have some things to show you that are very panicking in nature in terms of like human nature and getting people to sell, right? So obviously I covered this last night. Celsius sent out this email to customers, essentially that due to market conditions today, we're announcing Celsius is pausing all withdrawals, swaps, transfers between accounts. That's the type of stuff that panics, absolutely causes panic in the markets, right? We understand that this news is difficult. You can't do that sort of stuff. And I understand they're trying to add some sort of price stability, but in trying to help with the price stability, this makes it worse, because now all of a sudden you've got a situation where people start looking and they say, wow, could I even get my money out? Like in a panic situation? This is something that happened in the Great Depression, right? When the banks got run on, essentially, where everybody started to panic, banks started closing their doors, people were like, I need my money out, and they started freaking out, essentially. And now we got the equivalent going on, but it's with the crypto companies, right? Back then it was banks, and what ended up coming out of that essentially was things like FDIC insurance and all those sorts of things ended up coming out of that situation. So there wouldn't be run on the banks in the future. The government was going to back everything, but that's not how the crypto market is. So people are freaked out right now because they're looking at their crypto exchange, brokerage, whatever, and they're like, wait a minute, could I get my money out of this thing? Or how's this work now? Is like, what happens? Like, what if they went under? Do I get money out? Do I not get money out? And so this is leading to a lot of fears. It's leading to fears around the high interest products that some of these companies have. It's leading to a multitude of fears right now in the overall crypto market. And obviously with Bitcoin and Ethereum being the biggest ones of the bunch. So this is not good. And then, this happened earlier today, essentially. Binance paused Bitcoin withdrawals for several hours due to a stuck transaction. Maybe that's true. Yeah, who knows? All I know is when you got Celsius come out and basically say this, and then within 24 hours, you got this. Oh yeah, we're pausing withdrawals. Come on, man. This causes pure panic and causes pure capitulation in the crypto market. And for things that aren't backed by the government right now, the panic starts to build very, very quickly. And keep in mind, although there's more institutions and big money that holds Bitcoin and Ethereum and these different cryptos than in previous years, these are still markets that are very, very driven by the mom and pop investor, okay? By, folks that have a net worth of between $10,000 and maybe a few $100,000. That's still much of what crypto, the folks that are investing in crypto. This isn't like, there's not like an official Wall Street or something like that yet for crypto, right? And so, the fear can like boil over very, very quickly when you see stuff like this. And never mind that, with Bitcoin going down to these sorts of prices, who's to say we're not going to see more of this? This is why I told you guys in the video, last night, you got to make sure whoever you're with, if you're investing in, Bitcoin in any sort of crypto exchange, brokerage, whatever, make sure they are in a great capital position. Make sure they got plenty of money around. And you can basically, if they're a public company, you can see essentially how much cash they have on their balance sheet, things like that. If they're not a public company, you can see how much money they raised recently, things like that. Very important in this sort of market where the stuff is hitting the fan, as they say. That is very, very important. Now, to make this matter much, much worse, if you want to know why Bitcoin and Ethereum are crashing even worse, okay, we got other reasons out there. This is a big one. Essentially, the stock market is simultaneously crashing. The Russell was down almost 5% today. The NASDAQ was down 4.66% here today, looking at the Hungry Bull app, right? Yeah. We are in a pure fear-driven market right now. People are not bullish. People do not have FOMO right now. People are scared. Okay. When people are scared, they sell. When people are scared, they don't buy. That's what's going on in the market right now. So we're in this market where, there's almost like a buyer strike for a lot of folks right now because they're panicked. They're fearful, right? And if anything, they're looking to cash out and sell because of how bad things are getting essentially so fast here. So this, if the market's risk off, that's not good for Ethereum. That's not good for Bitcoin. They can't go up in that sort of market. We've never seen it. Unfortunately, Bitcoin and Ethereum haven't been around for very long, but we've never seen it where the market is risk off and Bitcoin and Ethereum go up. No, that's not possible. Literally, it's not possible. The overall financial feeling in the market has to be risk on. We're ready to take risk. And if that's happening, Bitcoin, Ethereum, growth stocks, those sorts of things do very, very well. And when you take that away, when you take the punch bowl away, it's not good for all of these. And they just get absolutely decimated. And when you got the fear on fear, it makes things even worse, okay? Now, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Because now that Bitcoin's falling so much, we got an even worse situation here, okay? So if you didn't know, there's a company named Microstrategy. This is a company that owns the most Bitcoin of any public company in the world, okay? An insane amount of Bitcoin, actually. And essentially, now there's starting to be real fears about potentially margin calls coming for MicroStrategy. Now, if all of a sudden MicroStrategy got themselves in any situation here where they had to actually start selling off Bitcoin, that would be very, very bad for the Bitcoin price nonetheless. And we're likely looking at a lot lower lows because at the end of the day, people are fearful. You already have mass selling. And then if you added on the company that has the most Bitcoin into selling into that, that would be awful, right? And so now, there's a lot of debate on, when a MicroStrategy would get margin called. From what I'm hearing, 21,000 is that number. If they go under 21,000, they have to come up with some sort of collateral or something like that, okay? And if it goes way below 21, then you're in big, big trouble, okay? Now, I've seen some misinformation about there. Somebody had posted like 3,500. Like, no, okay? I don't think MicroStrategy would even exist if Bitcoin went down to 3,500 or something like that, to be quite honest. That's just not a good situation, okay? If Bitcoin even went under 15, oh my gosh, guys, that's a disaster, okay? So do keep this in mind. This is adding a lot of fear, and there's a lot of confusion on what are the specific prices that MicroStrategy would have to offer up more collateral or try to, get out of this margin call, because they've taken out like billions of dollars of debt essentially to buy more Bitcoin, which is like the craziest, riskiest strategy ever. And of course, if Bitcoin, right now was 500,000, they'd be looking like the rocket scientists, right? And the smartest people in the world. But that's not the situation. Bitcoin and Ethereum are obviously collapsing right before our eyes here. And so, to have just taken out several $billion of debt to buy Bitcoin over the last, year or so, it obviously does not look good at all. Now, how does Michael Saylor respond to this? Well, Michael Saylor responds with a new profile picture. This is his new profile picture. That's how he responded to the fear that, MicroStrategy could end up in a margin call situation here right now. It's bad, man. It's not a good look for the overall crypto market. And somebody responded with this one. better one that they wanted him to use this one for his profile picture of McDonald's, doing whatever it takes with the balloons. Oh boy, okay. This is a comment I saw, right? I thought it was really important to address this because this says lost all trust in Bitcoin, worst store of value inflation hedge ever, essentially, right? And this is something that's definitely been put out there. Oh, Bitcoin's going to be a great inflation hedge. Bitcoin's going to be a great store of value, those sorts of things, right? One thing we know about Bitcoin, it does great in a risk-on market, but we have no proof that Bitcoin is a great inflation hedge. We have no proof yet that Bitcoin's a great store of value. Really, it's just we don't. It hasn't been around long enough to even go through those sorts of time periods where you can even begin to judge it like that, right? And so I just thought this was kind of important to kind of reference the real store of value always for humans for a long, long time now has always been gold. And gold has held up pretty darn well. It hasn't done much, but this is a year to date for gold. At the end of the day, think about this logically for a moment, right? Let me also show you silver. Silver hasn't been nearly as good of a store of value as gold has. Silver's down about 8% year to date versus gold is actually technically up year to date, okay? But think about this for a moment, and then we're going to get into kind of what's going to happen here with Bitcoin, Ethereum, is the crash going to end, things like that. But think about this for a moment, right? Gold investors, like every single gold investor you possibly know, and even pretty much all silver investors as well, these people invest based upon doomsday. All of them. Okay, I don't know one gold investor that doesn't. They're always like, preaching about how the Fed's printing too much money and it's the ruin of the economic system and things like that. And they are in gold because of like doomsday fears usually, okay? That's like almost everybody that's in gold. People that are in Bitcoin, I can tell you a lot of them are not in it for the doomsday scenario. A lot of people that are in Bitcoin are in it because they believe it's going to go up a ton over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And it's going to be a huge money maker. So it's a very, very different philosophy from gold investors to Bitcoin investors. And that's something people got to understand. I think is very, very important. And Bitcoin, gold's been around for so long, like we've seen it go throughout every single situation. We've seen gold, how it performs in high inflation times, in deflation times, in great economic times, in bad economic times. We've seen gold play out through all that. We haven't seen Bitcoin play out through all that. So it's a very different investor base. And I think that's very important for everybody to kind of understand because these investor bases are not the same, okay? They are not the same. Now, in terms of kind of the future of Bitcoin, Ethereum, where the price is going and things like that, the bottom line is, it's just very simple, guys. If the market stays risk off, Bitcoin and Ethereum are going down more. That's just the bottom line. If the market suddenly gets risk on, hey, Bitcoin can start moving up again, Ethereum can start moving up again. But there's no way possible, in my opinion, that Bitcoin and Ethereum are moving up in a risk off market. Bottom line, if people don't want to take risks, Bitcoin and Ethereum aren't doing well. That's just facts. I don't care about inflation or any of that stuff. If people don't want to take risks, Bitcoin and Ethereum will continue to go down. They'll continue to perform badly. Whenever maybe the Fed pivots, which could be like 2023, we'll see. Whenever people want to take risk again, start buying growth stocks, start buying NASDAQ related stocks, right? Start buying small caps again. Whenever that happens, Bitcoin and Ethereum will start getting their time to shine. It won't be perfect, and sometimes these things can lag a few months, but they will start heading in the right direction. But until you get to that point, these things unfortunately have nowhere to go but kind of down until you get some sort of risk on. And so that's the market, that's what we're in, and that's what you kind of have going for yourself. Let's hope that Bitcoin shows some stability, because if that baby goes under 20, that's where the real massive fears basically come in, because then you talk about margin calls, then you talk about the Microstrategy situation, right? Then you talk about massive amounts of people are underwater then at that point, because a lot of folks are in Bitcoin. If they're older school investors, a lot of them are in between 3K and like 15K. A lot of the new school investors got in between about 15K and about 30K. If you go under 20, that will be the real test of Bitcoin and Ethereum and honestly the whole crypto market. So I'm going to try to keep you guys up to date on this. Hope you enjoyed me kind of sharing this with you. I appreciate you guys joining me. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a lot more coming. We got a lot to talk about all the time. Check out the description area for a bunch of goodies. Say hello to me on Instagram. That'll be linked down there. Much love and peace.